5 News This Morning starts now.
Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets.
The suspect in the deadly attack of a couple at Devil's Den, now in custody.
Coming up, we'll have live team coverage. Reporter Jacob Luthi brings us the details on the arrest. And reporter Emily Moss has the latest on what we know about the suspect.
Yeah, they'll join us here in just a few minutes. If you missed information on the case coming in late yesterday evening, we've got everything you need to know. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Ellison.
And I'm Tiffany Lee, and we'll get to that breaking news in just a minute. But first, we want to check in with Danny with a check of today's forecast. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Tiffany and Joe. It's going to be one last hot and humid day for us today, especially in the River Valley. Then some much needed relief will be on here on the way tomorrow. Now, the heat advisory is in effect for areas along and south of I-40. For the River Valley, that heat index is high as 109. For the Northwest Arkansas region, maybe as high as 90 to 95, but most of us stay below 100, if not all of us in Northwest Arkansas. So you can see as we go throughout the morning and the afternoon, still not necessarily cool, but it is a little bit more seasonal for that heat index and should feeling like more where we should be this time of year. For the River Valley, though, it will peak in again that 108, 109 range as early as 11 a.m. hitting triple digits, but then a steep decline. We'll see how fast this decline comes because the cold front will swing through later this afternoon and drop off those temperatures, especially whenever we see that move through. Now, we are seeing a couple of spotty showers in some of the terrain areas here in the River Valley. Again, that's not the main activity. The main activity is off to our northwest as it eventually slides to the southeast later this afternoon. That's where we'll see a better chance of showers and storms. So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up in your full forecast. For now, we'll take a live look at traffic on this Friday morning, or Thursday morning. Getting ahead of myself, guys, sorry. Live look along I-40 at exit 47 near Cole Hill. Traffic moving smoothly so far on this Thursday. Again, we'll take a live look at that radar coming up, as well as when we'll see that rain and some relief on the way coming up in just a little bit. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thank you, Danny. Well, the manhunt is over. A suspect in the double murder Devil's Den now in custody.
Yeah, just in, we're getting a look at a new mugshot of the 28-year-old Andrew McGann. He was arrested yesterday evening and is now being held on charges of capital murder. Let's go ahead and send it out to 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi. He's live in Springdale with where that arrest happened. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, it was right here at this beauty salon here in Springdale where police say they were able to apprehend 28-year-old Andrew James McGann yesterday evening. Now, we're located right here on Huntsville Road here in Springdale. This is the beauty salon that you're looking at right now. Police say it happened just before 5 p.m. yesterday, 5 days after McGann allegedly killed Clinton and Kristen Brink at Devil's Den State Park on Saturday. Now, at a press conference Wednesday night, Arkansas State Police Major Stacey Rhodes says authorities are still working to determine a motive and are being careful not to release information too early as they focus on building a solid case for conviction. Rhodes confirms McGann had recently moved to Arkansas from Oklahoma and had secured a job at a local school. State police also credit the public's involvement as a key factor in McGann's capture. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders praised the coordinated effort, saying it took teamwork at every level to bring the suspect into custody. Stacey Rhodes says specific details on how investigators tracked down McGann will be released at a later time.
An arrest has been made. We are refraining from releasing much of the information that led to that arrest. We still have a lot of work to do in terms of, securing a conviction, because that's our next big focus right now. But we will release some details as they become available that we think are pertinent.
Now, as of right now, police say that there does not appear to be a connection between McGann and the victims, but again, now that they have their suspect in custody, that is where this investigation will now lead into.
All right, Jacob, since the beginning here, investigators have been really sort of slow with releasing a lot of information, sort of details on the case. Any idea of when we may learn a little bit more?
Yeah, Joe, police were saying that they were keeping a lot of that information close to the chest, as you just mentioned, because they didn't want to spook McGann. They didn't want to have him flee further. They didn't want to have him maybe go into hiding. So they said that they were very deliberate in what information they were able to release to the public. Joe?
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more here in the next few days. Thank you, Jacob. And we're learning a lot more about the suspect's background. Andrew McGann has a background as an educator.
Yeah, 5 News reporter Emily Moss has been looking into his past all morning. And Emily, what have you learned so far?
Good morning, Joe and Tiffany. McGann is a teacher. He has licenses in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Authorities say he came here for a job at Springdale for this upcoming school year from Oklahoma. The 28-year-old just moved to this area. It's unclear what grade or subject he would have taught. We haven't confirmed that information just yet, but his licenses are for elementary and middle school. He's taught math and science and writing in the past. The Springdale superintendent sent a statement to the newsroom confirming that McGann was hired to work there this school year in just a couple of weeks. But he also confirms that McGann has had no contact with families or students this year so far. We have not learned any new information for what McGann's motive could have been or if he has any connection to the Brink family. But during the state's press conference, Arkansas State Police called McGann a monster and got visibly emotional.
Because of their hard work and investigative skill, we were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls.
A very emotional night last night for those investigators who've been working so hard all week to find this suspect. Yeah, and we just got new information here into the newsroom from CBS. I confirmed that his last job was at Sand Springs, Oklahoma. It's a rural district just outside of Tulsa. And then CBS also confirmed to us that in his first year of teaching at a school in Texas, he was actually placed on leave due to some misconduct allegations, and he left by his own will when he was put on that leave.
Gotcha. I'm sure that'll definitely is part of their investigation moving forward. All right. Thank you so much for that, Emily. Well, let's talk about the victims for a minute in Saturday's deadly attack. 41-year-old Kristen Brink and 43-year-old Clinton Brink. They were hiking there on the trail with their two daughters. Their children, though, thankfully were not injured in the attack. They're safe with family. We also learned that they had recently moved to Prairie Grove. Clinton had transferred from a job in South Dakota, and he was set to start a new job this week, actually on Monday, delivering milk in the Fayetteville area for Highland Dairy.
One of the worst experiences that certainly I've ever had was making a phone call to the Brink family earlier this week. Nothing like that should ever take place.
Well, the Brink's family released a statement this week saying that the family is asking for privacy during this very difficult time. Clinton and Kristen died heroes protecting their little girls, and they deserve justice. They will forever live in all of our hearts.
I think it's safe to say they will, and people all across the state of Arkansas and Oklahoma as well. But we'll continue following updates from state police and the latest developments as they come into our newsroom on 5 News Plus. To learn how to download it to your smart TV, just text the word plus to the number right there, 479-785-5000.
Well, in other news this morning, President Trump is set to rewrite the rules of global trade just after the clock strikes midnight. That's when his pause on a list of tariffs is scheduled to end. The president is announcing a 15% duty on South Korean imports, saying it'll be 50% for Brazilian goods if that country won't end the trial of a former president accused of attempting a coup. Trump also is doubling down on a 25% tariff on imports from India.
Trump is frustrated about their lack of willingness to open specific markets to U.S. producers, and he's also very frustrated about their continued purchasing of Russian energy.
Some analysts say it's hard to assess the latest trade news because details are pretty scarce, though U.S. businesses have to pay Trump's tariffs when they import affected goods. He wants foreign producers to help foot the bill, but many say they can't afford it. In some cases, U.S. companies could buy from domestic producers instead, but that also could increase their cost. And developing right now, a Delta Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing in Minneapolis Wednesday after they say significant turbulence. The airline says 25 people on board flight DL56 had to be taken to the hospital. Their conditions, though, unknown right now, but the plane was traveling from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam.
The National Transportation Safety Board has begun an investigative hearing this week. They're looking into what led an Army Black Hawk helicopter to collide in midair with an American Eagle jet near Reagan National Airport. The crash killed 67 people in January. Doug Lane's wife and 16-year-old son were on the plane coming back from a skating competition.
We went from a family of 4 to a family of 2, kind of in a blink of an eye.
At the time of the crash, the helicopter should have been flying below 200 feet, but it was at least 70 feet higher. Investigators are focused on potentially inaccurate altitude readings from the Black Hawk. Meanwhile, newly released transcripts from the airplane's cockpit voice recorder showed the pilots received an automated verbal warning about traffic in the vicinity about 20 seconds before the collision. Flight data indicates the pilots attempted to climb aggressively to avoid the helicopter. Black box data from the helicopter indicates those pilots never appeared to be aware of the airliner in the moments leading up to the collision.